Your attention, we are down to the last item, and then a couple of quick announcements and I'll close. So how many of you attended the World Culture Festival last night? Okay. And for those who did not, you can get the badges, you can get the bands today. There's a desk outside. I would not miss this. This is truly historic. Yes? Okay, so for those of you who attended it, what's the goal of the World Culture Festival? What's the purpose of the World Culture Festival? There are many purposes. It's a grand extravaganza. It's a celebration of humanity. But one thing Gurudev has talked about is that in a world which is so torn apart by polarization, it is trying to heal the fabric of society torn apart by polarization. Can I have your attention, please? Shh. So we have a final TED Talk. We have a TED speaker who's going to address the very spirit of the World Culture Festival, which is to heal the fabric of society torn apart by polarization. And interestingly, her TED Talk is about conversations over food. So please join me in welcoming most warmly Jen, come on up. Jen Graham, come on up. Give her a big round of applause. It's a wonderful TED Talk. She will give us a version of it.
Wow. Look at this room. This is the world stage. And I just have to bring us back to the city that we are in right now, Washington, D.C. How many of you are aware that the government might shut down at midnight tonight? Yeah. So this is divine timing at its best, because what I am all about is bringing people together over food for conversations that matter. And why this matters is because we've seemed to have forgotten that the foundation of democracy is built on healthy discussion around important issues, much like we've already seen this morning. But it doesn't seem like Republicans and Democrats are sitting at the same table that often. So, in my experience, we have lost the art of conversation. And the lack of civility has reached a crisis level. We've witnessed this in our streets, in our news feeds, even in the workplace. How many of you have lost contact with a friend or colleague or family member because you disagreed on politics? Oh, come on, more of you than that, yeah. Yes. I know I have. It was January 2017. Yep, during an inauguration, and I was angry. I felt like all the things I care about, the values, what I stood for, were under attack. And so I did what every millennial does, and they post about it on Facebook. Except it didn't go so well. It did go viral, not in a good way. And my entire family saw this post. And half of them defriended me that day, including my dad, which I did not realize until he tried to refriend me a year later. So, I had some work to do. And before I could even start rebuilding relationship with my family, I had some inner work to do. So I sent myself to a retreat in Scotland. I don't know if you know about Findhorn, but it was the first meditation retreat I had ever been to, and I had never meditated in my life. I was expecting a miracle. But the first thing I did when I arrived is they make you pull an angel card. And I pulled the angel card of understanding. It was clear to me in that moment that I was there to learn the art of understanding one another. And so I devoured every single book in the library because they take your phone. How rude. You have to meditate, breath work, all this work. I learned from some of the greatest global peacemakers of our time. And what they shared with me, I returned to one who was from my hometown of Atlanta, Georgia, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He reminded me that, he said, men hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know one another. They don't know one another because they don't communicate with each other. And they don't communicate with each other because they are separate from one another. And so I realized in that moment, what if the root of suffering was separation? And what if the simple act of bringing people together over food for conversation could help unite people and eliminate hate? And so I did some research and I found an amazing man called Daryl Davis, a black musician. And he befriended a member of, not only a member, the Grand Wizard of the KKK. And after several years of building this relationship, getting to know his family, talking with him, he, the Klansman, gave up his robe and convinced 200 other Klansmen to give up their robes because they could no longer hate black people. Daryl didn't have to agree with the Klansman to be his friend, but he allowed him to have the space and the dignity and respect to listen to his perspective, gain his trust, and just get to know them on an emotional, relational level. That is human connection, and that gives me hope. If a black man and a member, the Grand Wizard of the KKK can be friends, can Democrats and Republicans get along? For the sake of this country and my kids, I sure hope so. But we have to ask ourselves, how did we get so divided in the first place? I believe it's two things. The first is fear. The other is ignorance. And the media loves both of them. Feeds off of ignorance and fear. And so we have to acknowledge that the social media algorithms that exist today are designed to reflect back our own worldviews. Actually, that's why we tend to live in bubbles. We tend to think everybody thinks like us because that's what the media does. However, there's a way that we can cross this bridge divide. The first thing we have to do is take a deep breath. Oh, that worked. Okay. All right. Okay. So to bridge the divide, the key is conversation. Conversation is the key to connection, to human connection. And this is what I've been dedicating the last decade to figuring out. How do we do this better? How do we get better at conversation? And the way we do this is by having structure. When we can pause for a moment and take time to listen to the other, there's magic. And so I'm going to show you 3 tips that I hope you take back to your workplace, to your Thanksgiving dinner table, and to places where you might bump up against people from that other world. And this will allow you to maintain connection, maintain that relationship, and maybe even grow it. So the first is to be curious. I admit, I didn't really want to know what the other party was thinking. I had to learn how to be curious, the intellectual curiosity, and really set my perspective aside and learn. Think of it as a learning opportunity. So leading with curiosity is the first thing. The second is to be vulnerable, like I am right now. But to be vulnerable is to not know that you don't have all the answers, that you are there to be present and to listen to the other side. And you don't have to agree with them, but you are there and you witness and you are present. And when you allow yourself to do that, you start to feel this little thing inside called empathy. And it starts to prick away at the walls, at the divisions that keep us separated from one another. You start to learn about the struggles that they're dealing with, the human reality on this life journey that we're all on. And then the third thing you can do is to be loving. And not loving in like a romantic way, but loving in a brotherly, sisterly way. The agape love that Dr. King always talked about. This yearning for love, and really to love is to respect the other's emotional well-being. Emotional well-being. And so, honestly, what we need more of is more love, and we need more understanding, and we need to do that more regularly. So I hope you take those 3 things: to be curious, to be vulnerable, and to be loving. And I promise you, if you do those 3 things, when you engage in conversation with total strangers from different worlds, like you do, I hope you do that tonight at the World Cultural Festival, then you'll walk away with new friends and new understandings. And so lastly, I just want to introduce you to, I started a company called Inclusive that is dedicated to this work. And we bring people together for food and conversation on the issues that matter. And guess what? If y'all want to, we can try it out. Y'all love to talk, so, I mean, this is going to be good. So we're going to dive into a conversation, but first I want to introduce to you the model and also show a little bit about what it takes to do so. For example, having structured conversation, having facilitation training, and then having data and an analytics way to gather all that. That's all the extra things you need. But we've done this for Team USA, woo! The Olympic Committee, Coca-Cola, in rooms as large as this, facilitated dialogue at the same time for the purposes of human connection. And we've seen incredible results, especially in a day and time where we are living in an epidemic of loneliness. Y'all, 51% of US workforce feels like they don't belong. And that is crushing productivity and innovation and causing people to drop out of the workforce. So we've seen tremendous improvement and sense of belonging even after just one conversation. We watched the leading indicators of psychological safety, of feeling more empathy for one another, and being more willing to take action as a result. So, if you are willing, I would love to invite you to dive in a conversation right now. Who's in? Yes! All right, okay, so now I need one brave soul from every table to play the role of host. And all that is that your job is to help make sure that everybody gets a chance to share. And the structure and a format of our model is simple. It's one host, 3 big questions, equal time to share with one voice at a time. And so I encourage you, we're only going to do one big question, because y'all got a lot of people here. One big question. And here's what it is. So I just first, though, raise your hand if you're willing to play the role of host at your table to make sure everybody gets a chance. Okay. awesome. Okay. So here's the big question. And here's some of the key things to keep in mind. Be curious, be vulnerable, be loving. But the big question as we close out this incredible conference is, what's one issue you wish people could come together around, and why? Let the conversation begin.
Okay, we're down to the end, folks. We have two quick announcements. Tim, come on up. Tim has an announcement. Kunal Khanna has an announcement.
Okay, so if you're an entrepreneur and it's just something that you think is going to make the world amazing and it's bursting out of your chest and you cannot hold it back, I am going to be taking pitches in the Cherry Blossom boardroom after lunch today. So come on, if you want to pitch me, I'm game. Thank you.
All right. Give a big round of applause for Tim. Kunal Khanna, come on up.
Hi everyone. Hello, good afternoon. Hi. So how many of you all were at the World Culture Festival last evening? Many of y'all? It was packed till the Washington Monument. Almost 1 million people present there. It was phenomenal. Now you might be wondering, how did the marketing come along? We marketed the World Culture Festival within 4 months. We've seen historic numbers, more than 100 million impressions. 1 in 4 people in Washington, D.C. have RSVP'd for the World Culture Festival. 1 in 2 people in the DMV area, 50 miles, have RSVP'd for the World Culture Festival. And all of this is based on the brothers from Turnkey Marketing, Eric and Drake. This advertising agency did the complete work for World Culture Festival pro bono. Out of the love and passion for the Art of Living Foundation, for Gurudev, and for the World Culture Festival. You all may be wondering, what did they get out of it? Their employees are more energized than ever before, more passionate than ever before, and now they have more skill and more will. The 2 things you need to be absolutely successful. You all have skills, you all have power, you all have energy. Come on in, come meet me, meet Sanjay ji, meet any one of us, Rob, Louis, come meet us. And if you'd like to contribute and do more work with us directly in marketing or any part of the foundation, you all are welcome. You are part of the team.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you. Okay. May I request your attention for just 5 more minutes? Everyone having a conversation, just 5 more minutes, then we close. Everyone, including on that table, please. Okay, so listen, we are at a close, but I want to close by saying, as I was saying, we began a journey today. We hope you will join us in a shared journey, which is as steeped in human values as is profitable. And to close out, I want to have you leave with 3 suggestions for action. I want you to leave with 3 suggestions for action that you can implement, which will advance this journey. Are you good to listen to that? Shh. This is to be respectful to the organization that has hosted us. So please give me 5 minutes of your time to listen to 3 suggestions that you can take, which will help you. So my first suggestion, and again, it corresponds to the 3 layers of the cake. my first suggestion is that in order to advance social value through your business, corporate social responsibility is a tool that all the business leaders in this hall have. And I was just saying, and can we put up the slide? You look at this slide, on your table is a card. And you saw, I know you were going into lunch, but I want to remind you that these are projects that the International Association for Human Values, or IHV, is leading. And if you look at it, they are trying to solve the problems for which we have no solutions. Sky Schools, as I was sharing with you, is tackling the problem of stress, depression, anxiety, alcohol, drugs, and gangs in schools. You would want to tackle that, yes? So you can support that. And Sky Campus is doing this for colleges. Then you have the veterans. There was a video, you may not have been able to see it. There's an award-winning documentary, Welcome Home, on this. They are addressing PTSD that veterans are suffering from. Rehabilitating hardened prisoners. Sky Recovery, my own nephew, who's suffering from substance abuse, is taking this program and it's helping him. How many of us know of programs that can help with substance abuse? And we have Cities for Peace, the problem plaguing our cities of urban violence. They're trying to address that. Look at these programs. They're trying to tackle the most intractable social problems. So what I would invite you to do before you go, on your table is this fold-up card. Do you see it? Yes? All you have to do is fill out the name of a person in your organization who IHV can follow up with to help implement CSR programs. You see, if corporate social responsibility is not just going to be a tokenistic exercise, IHV's projects can deliver for you significant, measurable, visible impact. So you'll do that, you can enter, that's the first layer of the cake. The second layer of the cake was we discussed that leadership and corporate culture can make a difference. We heard from Professor Seppala and Waldinger that a humane leadership and corporate culture can lift economic performance, isn't it? Yes? And we heard from Rati Murthy. Where is Rati? We heard from Rati Murthy that the TLEX program has helped forge this culture in the multiple companies that she has worked for. I want to share with you, in the World Bank, where I was vice president, it actually helped us forge a cohesive work culture, a humane work culture. 14 years we implemented the TLEX program, and it helped us forge a humane work culture, which definitely lifted our performance. So here you see, because of these experiences, these big companies, big international institutions are taking TLEX programs. I highly encourage you to think of TLEX for your leadership and your leadership teams. And again, for this, on your table, in this card, you can fill out the name of the person from your organization that TLEX can follow up with. Is that good? Yes. And finally, the third layer of the cake was the building your personal skills as a leader. And I want to share with you that in my present partnership, I lead a partnership of 75 countries. 100 leaders from 60 countries have taken the TLEX program. You can give a round of applause for that. And they have reported, so these are 100 leaders from 60 countries, and they have given TLEX the highest ratings for strengthening leaders' inner resilience in conquering adversity. And I want to share with you, Johan Rajshri, I want to share with you, I want everyone to listen to this. that this can really help you. My own journey was when I began my career, my effectiveness at work and in life was impaired because I was battling a family history of depression and chronic anxiety attacks. Before speaking to people like this, I would take up to 8 Valium tablets to douse my anxiety. Fast forward to today, the breathing tools and the meditation exercises that TLEX imparts has helped create an unshakable center of calm in me within, whether I'm giving a TED talk or addressing parliaments or addressing 1,000 global leaders. And this center of calm has been the source for me to radiate my ability to forge personal bonds with heads of states and senior ministers around the world and mobilize leaders and coalitions to fight corruption and renew democracy, which is my day job. So I want to tell you, thanks to these tools of breathing exercises and meditation that TLEX, Gurudev, and so on have imparted, I find myself with seemingly endless amounts of energy to take on these ambitious challenges as CEO, while also taking on voluntary roles that I'm doing today. And I share this with you to say that TLEX and these tools can really help you and your leadership teams in enhancing your leadership skills. So once again, you can fill out this card. And let me close. I promise this is the final close. And for this, just 1 minute, everyone. Just 1 minute. The Art of Living Foundation, the International Association for Human Values, if you reflect on it, Gurudev's programs are really making a real difference at the individual, community, and social levels. They have been incredibly generous in hosting this forum and hosting the historic World Culture Festival. They deserve much more support from us. Yes? So, in this card is a QR code. In this card is a QR code. I invite you each to make a generous contribution to the fabulous work this organization is doing. I can make this ask freely, frankly, and with a clear heart because my partner Lawrence, can you wave, and I have contributed generously, and I'm not a part of any of these organizations, so I don't stand to benefit from it at all. But I do think that contributing to this would be a great endeavor. There's no pressure, absolutely no pressure, just an invitation and a privilege to support a great organization and a great cause. Thank you very much.
Big round of applause once again, our MC, Sanjay, and the team that's out there. Yeah, all the volunteers.
This has been an incredible volunteer effort. All the volunteers, wherever you are, can you just wave, Rajneesh, wave. They're all busy working anyway. Thank you all for coming. See you at the World Culture Festival tonight.